unfamiliar path with a pulse of its own.
3, 2, 1.
Final Encounter Cast. Interesting conflicts, not conflicts of interest.
Typical corporate bullshit.
With your hosts, Nate, Robbie, Chris, Nika, and Callie. FinalEncounterCast.com.
Ready? Get set? Go!
What's up? Welcome to Final Encounter Cast. Happy to have you along on this Sunday. You can join us each and every single Sunday here at 5 p.m. at twitch.tv/Final Encounter Cast.
Are you saying we don't start at 5:10?
No, we don't start at 5:10.
Oh, I thought that was the time we started.
Oh, well, maybe
you can understand my confusion, right?
Sometimes.
That's not the goal.
Yeah. Anyway, hit that follow button if this is your first time joining us. Twitch.tv/Final Encounter Cast is where you're at. Thanks for joining us. We've got kind of a smaller crew today. It's just Chris and Callie and myself. My name's Nate. Happy to have you along.
Yeah, but it's like the best part of the crew.
Yeah, this is the A team.
Oh, really?
Well,
I mean, Nika's good too.
If we could swap out Callie for Robbie, that'd be the A team.
Well, you know what? If he starts showing up, then it can be the A team.
What? God. It would be nice if he would show up to these shows every once in a while, and not just be on Skype and making it sound like shit. But at least he's saving us. He's sparing us that annoyance today.
He is a kind and just God.
Shout out to Nika and Robbie, who obviously could not be here this week. Hopefully they'll... we know Nika's going to be off next week. Hopefully Robbie will be back with us. But
real quick, I just want to point out, it seems there's a typo on the splash
No,
screen.
there isn't.
Yeah.
There definitely isn't.
My name is wrong.
No, it's right.
It's actually CHRISTOPH.
Yep. Nope. I know that's what you've asked for, but it's not going to happen.
But that's the wrong spelling.
It doesn't matter to me. It matters to you, which is why...
So it does matter to you.
It kind of does matter. Yeah, it does.
I thought it was spelled
just not in the way that you want it to matter. Which is why it's
KRYS.
Oh, you know... God, you make a really good point, Callie. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
are you gonna add a Z at the end of that too now?
No, but the Y is gonna be capitalized. Because you're a cool guy, right? That's just the kind of cool dude you are.
And now, Chris featuring the Wild Stallions.
Nailed it.
Oh,
dropping the Bill and Ted reference. Love it.
We definitely found your rap name. That's for sure.
Chris and the Wild Stallions.
Career Wyas.
Thanks for checking us out. FinalEncounterCast.com is where you can find our backlog of shows. Hope that you do, and I hope that you stay with us for the future, because we're going to be bringing you the latest in gaming news and discussions. Today, we're going to be talking about the future viability of consoles. Is it time to finally let consoles ride away off into the sunset? Because I think it might just be about that time. We're going to talk about that, and we want to take your calls. Final Encounter Cast on Skype, 810-207-1764, if you want to call the show. We'd love to hear from you and what you have to say about the future viability of consoles. Do consoles even matter at all? Because guess what? We all have PCs at this point. Most of the PCs that we have can play... fairly wide range of games.
Get owned!
So, what purpose do these pieces of hardware even serve? We want to talk to you. Again, Final Encounter Cast on Skype, 810-207-1764. But before we do that, let's check out what's going on with gaming news.
I'm here to do the news tonight.
And that's the way the news goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this program to bring you important news.
Here's a story that's out of this world.
Whoops. Oh, whoops.
How far back do we have to go? Do I need to start that
it's
over?
like 2 minutes, yeah. Actually, you know what? We could probably... should we just retake the whole thing? I mean, we're close enough to the beginning of the show that we should just probably retake the whole thing.
Did we not have sound for the whole show?
No, we didn't have sound for the coming back from the news.
No.
That's what it was.
Should we just start right from the news then?
No, I mean, that's hard to... That's almost impossible to edit together on a YouTube video. So I'm thinking for YouTube, we should just recut the whole thing. I mean, that's really... I mean, it's 8 minutes worth of...
Look at it this way. We'll start at 5:10 on time.
Are we going to redo the whole Chris Y bit then?
That was good.
It was good.
It was good.
I mean, for the podcast, I'll probably have to cut... I don't know, man. That sucks.
Maybe put that at the end, like a little special hidden feature.
Or we just keep rolling.
Just run with it.
I mean,
run with 2 minutes of silence. I love it. Let's do it.
Oh, good.
Professional material.
Yeah, great. I don't know, man. This puts us in a weird spot. I legitimately don't know if we should restart or if we
go with it,
or just go with it. I mean, because no, that's gonna sound really fucked up on YouTube. I mean, it's really gonna sound fucked up on YouTube. I hate that.
You got a coin flip.
I got plenty of coins. That's what I seem to be. I don't know. I always have something in my hands when we do.
Everyone's shouting, "Do it live! Roll with it!"
All right, fine, fuck it. Just roll with it.
It's on your guys' heads.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, Pokemon Go. I caught all 142. My North American Dex is done.
Oh, great. So are you going to stop talking about it then?
No.
No,
because I mean it's still pretty relevant. A lot of people are still playing it. They're making a lot of updates. We should be getting the Buddy update here, dropping like
any minute now.
Any minute.
Well, hold on. It has to drop in San Francisco first, and then in the next 180 days or so, it'll drop out to the suburbs of San Francisco. Go from there.
Okay. Well, I really, their slow rollout of everything. I understand it's to, avoid slamming their servers, but
that works out.
Well, yeah, because every time that they did that, we would have a pretty much broken game for 5 or 6 hours. So I do appreciate the slow rollout, but it's just like, come on, dude. I keep checking my Google Play store, and I'm like, oh, when is this gonna fucking happen? Because we started hearing about the updates rolling out last night, so it's almost been a full 24 hours since they started rolling out. And I still don't have mine yet. It's driving me nuts.
I don't think anyone has theirs yet.
So what do you think about?
I don't think that's right. I don't think that's true. I think that there
some people definitely already have
North American people that have it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Let me go check if I have it.
So, what do you think about this Apple Watch app for it, though?
So, the Apple Watch app, I don't know. It seems like there were a lot of third-party development that were already getting some of the, map features put onto the smartwatches, and it seems very close to that. And of course, that Niantic's going to want to control all that. But I'm not sure what the difference between those two things really are. And I'm going to be curious if you can actually hit stops or catch Pokemon from the watch. I think that's going to be kind of critical.
I don't think you can.
No,
I think this is literally there so you don't have to walk around like this.
I guess
all the time.
But this sounds like that little attachment dongle thing that went along with it that they advertised and then forgot about.
No, that's actually they're adding support for that with I think is it this update? I think it's this update that they're adding support for that. Mm-hmm. So those are actually I think those have started to ship too. So they're actually making good on that. But the way that was explained, you would be able to. It would vibrate when a stop was nearby. You'd hit it to hit a stop. Or
can you? Or is that just what we all assume?
That's what was said on the product page. And what I heard, and this I don't know if this was on the product page or not. What I also heard attached to that was that you would be able to catch Pokemon that you had already caught, as long as they were already in your decks. that you would be able to catch them from that, that doesn't sound right. It seems like maybe it would vibrate to alert you that one was there, but that you couldn't interact with it outside of the app.
So I don't know how you would do the Pokeball throwing minigame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I assume that is something that just vibrates to let you know, hey, get your phone out.
Yeah,
now's the time.
That makes sense.
But yeah, like you don't feel like sometimes you're walking around the street like, I wish I wasn't just sitting here with my phone in front of my face as I walk.
Right. Yeah, it is. That's, I think, one of the things that kind of continues to maybe make me a little self-conscious of playing it in public is just constantly having it in front of your face.
Because everyone knows what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh,
everyone knows.
It is so easy to identify other Pokemon Go players, and I'm running into a serious problem where all the Pokemon Go players I run into look a lot like me. They're a little overweight, they have beards, kind of sloppy. You know what I mean?
Look like hipsters.
All of those hot girls that were playing in the first 4 weeks, they're nowhere to be found anymore. Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Yeah,
how about that?
Yeah.
So, some interesting new features about Pokemon Sun and Moon have been revealed, including what appears to be Pokemon Snap within the game. Players can take pictures of Pokemon and have the photos judged, unlocking further abilities such as zooming in. We've also seen that Moon will take place 12 hours after Sun, with Sun being tied to the time on your 3DS, and Moon 12 hours ahead of that. The game releases on November 18th.
Now... is this Pokemon? Do you really need to try to sell both copies to one person? That just seems like an obvious grab at hey,
if you want the whole story, buy both of them.
Pokemon has always, I think, really been abusive to people with OCD, right? It really is I was actually thinking of it because I was explaining to my dad. My dad had asked me over dinner this past week about how the old games used to work and how Go kind of translates with that, and how has it changed. And I started explaining the original concept behind Red and Blue, and at some point I had to go. And some brilliant marketing genius said, let's paint one of the cartridges red, paint one of them blue, and put 4 Pokemon difference between them. And the only thing that you can do is you got to buy this $14.99 link cable to be able to trade them, to be able to get all of them. And it's it almost it was so... It was so creative, but at the same time, you look at it and it's oh, that was clearly designed to move units. You know what I mean? And
no, it traded and fostered a trading community.
Yeah,
it was
that's
perfect.
what it was there.
Gotta catch them all.
For only that game. For only that link cable never worked for any other... Was there another game that the link cable was relevant for?
There's multiplayer games that you have to have the link cable for.
There are?
Get the fuck out of here. You're not playing that on the original Game Boy.
Tetris had it, for one.
Oh, fuck off.
You can play multiplayer Tetris?
Yeah, with the link cable.
I had no idea you could do that.
I believe you could.
You fucking youngins. I swear.
Dude, it's just it really seemed like they were sitting around and they were like, we only have 4 other games that can support this link cable, and one of them is Tetris. We've got a warehouse and a half full of them. We need something to move link cables, people. And it fell to the Pokemon people to go, we
carry that burden.
We can solve this. It just seems like it was a brilliant marketing decision, but at some level it does so feel like it was made to drive the sale of multiple copies of a game to one person, and now they're just not even trying to hide it. You know what I mean? They're just and again, for anyone who has OCD, I'm sorry for you.
Well, I feel like X and Y did have a different story. It diverged at the end. I'm pretty sure it did.
I was going to say, I feel like this is less blatant cash grabbiness, because if they were just completely not caring at all, just the 2 different sets of Pokemon, but at least they're trying to have a difference with the 12 hours being later and a different story.
Okay, so do you think that this is actually something that long-term Pokemon players would prefer?
I think so. Having more differences between the games is a good idea. So that way, it rewards those obsessive compulsive people who are going to play both either way.
At least they get a slightly different experience.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're justifying it more.
Okay.
Interesting.
I guess
justifying it more, sure.
I guess sure that makes a little bit of sense. That I could see that.
Thank you, Chris. Nate now feels much better about the fact that he's pre-ordered both.
No, I only pre-ordered one. Why would I pre-order both?
Uh-huh.
The guy looked at me very strange because it was on the day that announcement had come out. He looked at me really strange, like he was like, "You don't want to pre-order both of them?" And I was like, "Why would I want to do that? Do I like
the balls on him?
Oh,
what you only want to get one of the games?
Are you
He
sure
literally tried to upsell me that way. It was the most ballsy upsell. I was like, I almost kind of want to give it to you.
I respect it
for the effort, but no, what kind of maniac do you think I am?
Oh, I see. You're going to be one of the peons who only has Moon. Oh, I see. That economy is real brutal, isn't it?
He goes, how are you going to know what happens 12 hours later? And I go, I don't care what happens 12 hours later. There's a really easy solution for that. I don't give a fuck.
You say that now, but what if something really awesome happens? It's like, and to find out next time.
You know, I can't, I honestly, like, I've eaten shit on every Pokemon point that I've brought up on this show, so I don't want to say it, because then suddenly $60 will be removed from my wallet, and I don't know what happened to it. God damn it.
Every time he tries to get out.
It's true. Fucking Robbie was, I hate saying it, but Robbie was so right on
everything.
On Pokemon Go motivating people to get back into the series with Sun and Moon and with other games. I mean, like, I really have, like, I've plugged the most time in terms of a game into Soul Silver recently. Again, a lot of that has to do with my increased work schedule, but that is the game that I'm playing the most. And I'm actually having a pretty good time with it.
Isn't that bubble so comforting?
Oh. Just you wait till we get into the console discussion. I may actually be in the fucking bubble.
Oh my god.
Nintendo, give me free stuff.
Well, speaking of Nintendo and the glorious bubble, Mario is finally making his way to mobile devices as Nintendo announced Super Mario Run. The game is in the vein of other Endless Runner games and will feature a classic run-to-the-flag Mario mode and a battle mode for playing against others.
Stop!
I don't see the appeal in this.
Well, you don't see the appeal, but as soon as it comes out and you're in the Safari Zone of Super Mario Run, then we'll have to hear about it.
I don't know. I don't think that one would get me.
This is just a stupid Flash game. Super Mario Run. I assume it's gonna be like Temple Run.
Yeah.
They said it was something like Surfer, Sewer Surfers, something like that. I assume it's just Temple Run.
I don't have a fucking clue.
When they say Endless Runner, that says to me Temple Run.
Okay, well, spoiler alert. I've never played Temple Run either, so I assume Mario's gonna auto run and you have to tap to jump.
To do the jump, to do the Mario jumps. That's kind of what I figure it'll be.
I'm not gonna play that game. Sorry, Nintendo.
They do.
I'm out.
They do emphasize that they always felt that the ease of access for Mario games is important, and this game will expand on that further, and you can play with one hand.
Oh boy!
I'm gonna play it with my dick. Every time I jump, I'm just gonna flop my big ass dick on the phone.
Well,
and make Mario jump.
I think you're being a little bit generous there.
You know what? You guys are better duck.
No, on your penis size.
Oh, on the table?
Okay.
On the bed.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Apartment building complex roof.
New gameplay footage for Mass Effect Andromeda has released while promoting the PS4 Neo. It's been teased we'll see an actual trailer for the game in November, but the gameplay footage was certainly interesting. You can check that out on a link on our website. It's interesting, but not interesting enough for us to risk getting a flag on YouTube over.
Robbie and Nico, what do you think of this Andromeda stuff?
That's the real reason that we're now watching it, is because the two people that would give a shit and actually be able to talk about it with any kind of authority are not here. So if you want to see it, you can go see it. It's at our website, finalencountercast.com.
If you want to see it, go fuck yourself.
One interesting thing that I enjoyed about those, they said another side note will be that once again you can choose between a male and female character, but in this game they'll be brother and sister, and when you choose one, your sibling is out there in the universe somewhere. So rather than just like, okay, I'm playing a female or a male version, like they're actually two characters you're picking from.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's cooler.
I mean, I guess. I wonder how much difference of a narrative you get between the two. It seems like that seems like a lot of programming.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
Pokemon does this. Whatever your gender is, like in the new games, whatever your gender is, the other person is the professor's assistant.
Right. Yeah.
Just
I would think.
does
I would
things
know.
genderlessly.
I would hope that Mass Effect would probably try to want to take that to another level.
Well, if you play as the sister, it starts 12 hours later.
God damn it.
Man, that was a really good one.
Walked
Len.
right into that
Good one, Len. Props.
Thank you.
So it's no secret that World of Warcraft Legion has been a big hit and well received, but just how well did it do? Yeah, I know. I don't know if you
I
guys
had
realize
no idea. Oh my God.
Reports out of Blizzard say it sold 3.3 million copies in the first 24 hours after launch.
Well, now you have gonorrhea.
That's a lot of items moved.
That is a lot. I mean, those are numbers that, AAA titles kind of dream of hitting in 24 hours.
Those aren't MMO numbers.
No.
That's
not at all.
That's a big number.
What's the price tag of Legion?
$49.99?
Get the fuck
$50
out of
expansion.
Here. $50?
Yeah.
On a game that's fucking what, like 10 years old?
Excuse
Older
me.
than that?
This game is like 10 days old. Thank you very much.
No. When was Vanilla WoW?
Oh, the base game. Yeah, that's probably 10 years old.
10? Is it 10?
I think it's a little more now, right? 11?
Over 10.
I maybe. I can't even remember. What's 11 at? Is 11's at
13.
13.
Okay. And I want to say WoW came out like maybe a year or two later.
10 years.
So at least 10.
10 years.
Okay, so
Okay.
10 years.
Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Well, apparently the price point...
$50 price tag on a 10-year-old game's expansion.
And that's if you have the, I guess the base game. If you don't have the base game, that's another 20, I think.
Oh my
70
God.
for the base plus the expansion if you're new.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a sub on top of that.
But I mean, let's
And you
be
get a
honest.
free month.
Let's be honest. We all know you went to see the World of Warcraft movie, so you got a free game from that.
Yeah, all 19 of you.
I was there.
Why?
Great job.
Yeah, it was all right.
Is it better than Ghostbusters?
No.
Is it better than Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it better than Kingsglaive?
We'll inform later. So speaking of Blizzard, they still know how to make a world feel alive and interesting. A group of treasure hunters seeking the item to obtain a mount that hasn't been available since 2007 accidentally unleashed a horror from beyond into the world. After acquiring and positioning 10 mysterious orbs, they released a monster named Kasumoth the Hungering, at which point every player on the server received an in-game notice to go kill it regardless of faction. Basically, they thought they had found a cave in an ocean hidden behind a wall of kelp.
Yeah.
And went in and found what they thought was going to be this incredibly rare item to get a mount that hasn't been available in half a decade. And when they followed the incredibly weird instructions and realized that there's a town that has a little map scrawled on it that you can decipher, they figured out where to put these 10 orbs, and basically Cthulhu walked through the portal and started wrecking everyone's shit.
Oh my God.
None of this hinted at by Blizzard that it even existed.
Oh my God.
Giant.
And it's
It is-
humongous.
yeah.
Everyone on the server, irrelevant of faction, was invited to come kill this enemy.
They got a in-game notice. They're like, hey, this mob is here. Come kill it right now.
If you want to click the link, you can see what he looks like. He looks boss.
That
Yeah.
might be the coolest fucking thing I've ever heard of in an MMO.
I know. It's
And
badass.
That
You had to
makes me so angry that that's in World of Warcraft. God damn it.
you had to click these 10 orbs in a specific pattern. In order.
What?
Nyzul lamps.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yep. That's a thing that happened in this game. I want to do that.
And it's not like this is all in the same zone. This is spread upon the whole freaking island.
They had to communicate, get
Yeah.
10 people communicating with each other to do the order as they're nowhere near each
I
other.
think they had to research the lore behind it just to put those in order.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
None of this was hinted that it even existed from Blizzard.
That's
Insane.
incredible.
Interestingly enough, they did not get the mount.
Hang on.
On a side note.
You get a
That's
different
funny.
mount, but you didn't get that mount.
Hang on. Quick question though. So Legion was released how long ago?
10 days.
10 days. So it took...
Is it?
About, what, 10 days now?
I just roughly said 10 days. I
think that's pretty close, though. Isn't it
About 2
10
weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
So it took 10 days for the community to be able to suss all of this out.
Suss that, yeah, like someone, I think, or as I understand it, someone found the cave on accident. They were looking for it, so something must have hinted that there was something worth finding. But they found it on accident, and then it was just days upon days on, like, there's this huge, long subreddit of people trying to, like, put together ideas for what might be going on.
Oh, my God.
And they figured it out. And then Cosimoth the Hungering entered our realm and started going ham on everybody.
You think there's more of those?
Probably.
Could be.
I mean, like,
Blizzard is pretty well known for
that's
having crazy ass shit in their games.
Legit, like one of the coolest things I've ever heard of, and some of the things that Final Fantasy XIV could possibly learn from Blizzard. And
I feel like the problem is that all the MMOs are just like running this super razor thin line of being able to keep themselves afloat and just falling off into obscurity.
And that's what
and they just don't take any risks. They have to play it so safe, except for World of Warcraft.
Right. And that's sort of you're actually hitting on a point that I was trying to articulate but wasn't actually getting there. But that, yeah, it takes a large overhead, a lot of resources to be able to hold a game up like that. And again, because like look what happens when a smaller game tries to do new things. They generally do not succeed in the MMO marketplace. You have to already build that success in the way that, I mean, FF14 has built some of that success, which is why I think that they're actually one of the very few in the position to be a driver there instead of just Blizzard.
Well, and you talk about your...
But they don't have it for very long. It's a closing... That door is swiftly closing.
Right.
And unless you have the money to hold that up, there's no innovation that can come from a smaller MMO.
When you talk about your disdain for hype culture, but at the same time, that's kind of what allows WoW to take risks and try different things. It's that they know no matter what, they're going to have a bunch of people who are going to play it due to hype culture. So they're thinking, you know what do we have to lose? Let's try something crazy.
But no, going back on a point you just made, Nate, a smaller MMO like Final Fantasy XIV, granted it's not small, but it is definitely smaller than World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft did crib a whole lot of ideas from 14, like their relic weapon crust, more emphasis on cutscene and story. The story is so good, and there's actually cutscenes that bring you into the game.
Yeah.
Tons of voice acting.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice change. I want to do
Good
that.
voice acting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I'm like, why are you just really good at talking, random NPC? I feel like you're better at talking than my Tauren.
I mean, yeah, I do think that, you know, FF14 has put some really good things out into the MMO culture, but that cultural ground, that influential ground is quickly shrinking.
It is.
And when you're talking like a game like Blade and Soul, or you're talking about a game like Black Desert, like a Black Desert Online, or even, you know, to a lesser extent, Eve, like these are games that, you know, if they tried to break the mold and they lost 30% of their subscribers, then they don't have the resources to keep the lights on, right?
They can't bounce back from that.
Blizzard never... If they lost 30% of their audience...
They call that Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah.
They name it Warlords of Draenor and put it on a box.
Exactly. Like, you know, for as poorly received as that was, they were trying different stuff.
They were trying a movie tie-in. I mean, that's Warlords of Draenor, Warcraft movie. They're connected, man.
And I like, as for like Eve is already so far outside the box of what you consider to be an MMO.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to look at Eve and imagine them trying to do something really different at this point. They're like, what are you going to go further against the MMO grain with?
Yeah.
Like, what's left?
That's true. But I mean, looking for innovation out of smaller MMOs, I think is the wrong place to look, because Chris, you're absolutely right that the impetus is on them to be financially successful, and so they have to take less risks, or else you end up being WildStar.
But if you take less risks and you play it completely safe, then you're a World of Warcraft clone, and then you fade into obscurity because you're not notable.
Yep. It's a razor.
Double-edged
It's a
sword.
razor thin line. It's a razor thin line. And actually, the thing that you have to give Final Fantasy XIV and Square Enix is that they rode that line very well.
Yeah.
Like with the transition from 1.0 to 2.0, they could have very easily got the label WoW clone and then got the write-off, and they sidestepped that, even though there was a lot of wowiness to that game. So yeah.
All right. So earlier this year, Bethesda said they would be allowing mods on the console versions of both Skyrim and Fallout 4. Sadly, though, this now appears it will be Xbox exclusive, as Sony put the kibosh on this happening for PS4.
Fuckers. So mad about that.
Yeah, Bethesda put out a quote. It's dripping with disappointment. Like, we've literally built this thing, and now Sony says we can't use it.
If you go and seek out the quote from Bethesda where they announce that this is not happening with Sony, you can literally read the seething anger from the page.
They are.
He's pissed. They really they must have put some time in development in, and the other thing is that, like, and they state this in the statement. They go, it works. Like,
it's ready to go.
Yeah, it's like it's been ready to go for a while, and it comes down to Sony's monetization and allowing users to put stuff up on their marketplace. That is the big sticking point, which that's super frustrating.
For the first time, I look at it and legitimately say, hey, cool, Xbox has something that Sony doesn't. I've not said that once in this console generation.
And it's sad because it doesn't need to be that way.
No, there's no reason.
No.
Interplay has announced it will be selling off its library of IPs, seeing the chance for more of their games to have new life in the mobile market. Some of their more prominent IPs include Earthworm Jim and Clay Fighter. Personally, I'm ready for Battle Chess 2016. Battle Chess was awesome.
They sold off their most important IP long ago in Fallout, right? That was Interplay, wasn't it?
I think that was Interplay.
I think it was.
So.
Yeah. So
I would love to see a new Earthworm Jim game. That's sweet.
You know what?
Yeah.
Actually, I think that in that IP sell-off, Interplay had retained the right to develop a Fallout-based MMO, and I wonder if those rights are going to be up. I mean, they have to be if they're selling off everything.
They're doing a sell-off, so yeah.
So we could see a very lackluster, shitty MMO for Fallout.
Niantic has purchased the rights to the Fallout MMO. Interesting. Fallout Go.
ZeniMax, I don't think knows how to develop MMOs. I mean, that's pretty. ESO was really. I every time I played it, I remarked to myself, "This is really a mess. This really feels like a mess."
I don't know. I'd like to see a mobile game for Earthworm Jim. I think that'd be cool. And Battle Chess. Battle Chess is the shit.
Stop.
Tommy Tallarico needs some work these days. Like, let's get him out and composing some new music. Let's get a new Earthworm Jim going.
Groovy.
Yeah.
From the desk of news I can't believe I'm reporting, Peta has contacted Giant Software to request actual pig slaughter footage be added into Farming Simulator 2017. They say that unless the game is the game they produce is titled Vegan Farming Simulator 2017, it would be dishonest otherwise. Wow.
What a bunch of idiots.
They want actual pig slaughter footage put into Farming Simulator 2017. I wouldn't hold my breath.
God, I fucking hate vegans, motherfucker. Oh my God, you sanctimonious assholes. This is why after being vegetarian for 10 years, the first time I ate bacon, it was like something was right in my soul. I hate you people so much, you fucking assholes.
Still butthurt.
Oh, how annoying is that? With the amount of shit that's fucked up in this world, you have to go annoy the farming simulator people by saying, no, you have to have realistic pig slaughter in there, or you're not teaching people what factory farming is all about.
Yeah.
Screw your game balance. We need to make a statement.
I just like that some guy at Giant Software was like, I gotta put this on the internet. This is ridiculous. What?
That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Yeah,
At this
that's
point,
correct.
PETA's just a bunch of trolls, right?
I mean,
They're trolling us, right? Like, nobody thinks that they're serious.
They do.
Right?
Do they?
Except
I don't know. Do they?
They don't.
They're very straight-faced seriousness about the way that they approach.
That's
what they
why
ask
it's a
for.
good troll.
Yeah,
Maybe they have the greatest poker face. I don't know.
Well, it's sort of
Not
like
just the way they look.
it's sort of like Pamela Anderson, who came out and said that porn is bad. Okay, you're gonna
Pam.
You're gonna give back all the money that you made off of your sex tapes and your Playboy fucking shoots.
Yeah.
Like, no,
How's
you're
Baywatch
not.
treating you?
You know what it is? It's the fact that she's not hot anymore. It's the fact that she's old and she's like, well, nobody wants to see me naked anymore, so porn is therefore bad.
I'll still do her.
Just
yet-
for what, the story?
A courtesy lay.
Confirmed here, Chris will give Pamela Anderson a courtesy lay.
I watched Barbed Wire twice. Why not? Sure.
The PS4 Neo, now retitled the PS4 Pro, is officially on the way after its unveiling last week. The system runs $399 and will include an upgraded CPU and GPU, as well as a 1 terabyte hard drive. Many games already have the capability to make use of the Pro's new hardware and will require a simple patch to make the conversion over. And for more information on the news and other stories, visit our blog at finalencountercast.com.
That's right. We live blog all of our stories. Kooky works hard on that, so make sure you check that out over at finalencountercast.com. But I think that this is it sparked an interesting discussion because we've now seen upgraded console versions from both Sony and Microsoft. We've got, Project Scorpio that's in the works from Microsoft. You've also got, this new PS4 Pro. And it really sort of begs the question, are we approaching an era where console hardware just cannot keep up unless it becomes modular, like swappable, or upgradable like a PC is? Are we at a point where consoles are just not the 10-year investments that they used to be?
I wonder if part of it is like a big thing I think for both of them is being able to support 4K resolution. So with that actually starting to like become a thing and take off, I know that was a lot of the impetus for these systems.
Yeah, and it really does feel like, unless you already own a 4K TV, which you're talking
Like a whole lot of Americans have a 4K TV.
Oh yeah, tons of us.
It's really
I got one in my bathroom.
It's early adopters that have 4K resolution. I don't think any of my monitors are 4K resolution, and I've bought a couple of them recently. So, it's just it seems like they're pushing this out for, even a screen technology that's not even totally there yet. But at the same time, though, you do get an increase in processing power. You probably will get an up conversion of a lot of these games. Some of the textures will probably appear at a much higher resolution. You'll probably get a lot smoother frame rates from the upgraded hardware. But the thing is all of us in this room own PlayStation 4s. Mm-hmm. Every single one of us.
Yep.
Who is going to be lining up to get a PlayStation 4 Pro? How often?
You put your hand down.
Hang on. Let me ask you guys, like, legitimately, I think I'm probably the one that uses my console the most out of the four of us. Maybe not you.
Yeah.
Len. You may use
I'm
yours
on it
more
constantly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I use mine a lot, and I think it does have a lot to do with how much I play it on remote play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a big component there. But honestly, Callie, how often do you play your PS4?
Never. Almost. I played it for Until Dawn because that was really my only option. And it was great, but I don't really use it. The only time I use it nowadays is to play older games, and then I use my PS3 so I can stream it.
Okay.
Because, the Elgato doesn't work very nicely with the PS4.
It doesn't?
Not very nicely, no.
Oh, fuck. I didn't
Really?
Because you use the AV cables in the back. It works much better with the PS3.
What?
Wait, what?
AV cable?
What Elgato
Excuse me?
you
You use when I stream PS3 games, you do AV cables. You can't do HDMI. It won't work. Not with the Elgato that I have.
I think actually if you get a box that it'll fix that, because Sony does do the scrambled, the encoded out
right
from the HDMI, which I honestly really wish that they would stop doing that, because I get it that you can stream internally from the PlayStation 4, but it looks like hell.
But it's garbage.
It
And
looks
you have a shitty
terrible.
overlay.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
There's no reason to do that. So I really feel like, if they really want to meaningfully support Twitch, like, why bother scrambling the out like that? You can also have it engage with streaming apps if that's what you're worried about, like people ripping stuff, movies and stuff like that. You can have that engage with Netflix or on a DVD. Here's another thing. Here's another strange thing about the PS4 Pro. Does not come with an HD DVD or HD Blu-ray.
You can't play Blu-ray on it?
No. You can play Blu-ray, but not the 4K Blueys.
Oh,
that's kind of insane.
That's stupid.
Because Sony is the one who's pushing that. But guess what? Guess what does? Xbox, the Scorpio. The Scorpio is
the opposite of what happened last time.
It is weird, isn't it?
Remember HD DVD?
Yeah, but the thing is like who's buying the HD Blu-rays, man? The 4K Blu-rays?
Not me.
Again, I mean, like, maybe if you have the TV, but I don't.
Famous.
Yeah.
So outside of that, though, if I can play it on my PC, I'm playing it on my PC.
And I think that's, like Steam has really helped kind of ubiquitize that whole market there, because, before you used to have installation problems or driver issues, wrong, that didn't engage the right DirectX, and Microsoft has gotten a lot better about having games, running on their platform, and it's also it's a whole lot easier in terms of hardware. Like, building a computer is easier now than it's ever been.
Right.
And look, where's wood I can knock on? Because
Right
like,
there.
I'm right here.
Okay. I get it. I get it.
It's a previous show reference.
Puns.
But look, it really is easy to build a computer.
Yeah. It's not the problem it once was.
No, it was. I mean, because it used to be nightmarish.
Like hooking up a motherboard back in the day literally was awful.
Yeah.
Like trying to doing the glue for your CPU, get the heat sink fluid and stuff
the
like
heat
that.
sink stuff, yeah.
You could really damage stuff trying to do that. These days, if you have a brain at all and
It's
look
pretty
one
easy.
guide on YouTube,
Kelly, there is a setting on the PS4 that you can turn off the encoding and stream it through HDMI.
There you go.
oh
Way to go, you dumbass.
Problem
Dumb shit.
solved.
man,
Piece of
how much did they
garbage.
donate to call me out on the air?
I think a dollar. I don't know. I think it was a
Escape
dollar.
Death.
Yeah, thank you, Scape Death.
All right, well, I guess.
Escape Death was right.
All right, and now I got to find out if my PS4 is backwards compatible to PS1 and PS2.
Yeah,
It's not.
Not
It's
one.
That's why I did PS3, because I was trying to play Final Fantasy IX for the charity stream. That's why I used PS3 the first time.
Yeah.
Oh,
That makes
oh,
sense.
thank God, some justification. Dodge that bullet.
Except you're still more on the first time. You had to cost poor Scape Death like $1.
A dollar.
For your
Because
incompetence.
yeah, you could have just read the chat, but no.
No. Yeah, I figured I could just derail the subject or derail the conversation for that.
But with PC, like, PCs are easier to build now than ever, and decent hardware is cheaper than ever too. It's not, the cost of a video card is not what it once was.
No.
So, I really feel like these couple of factors have led to PC gaming opening up.
Well,
Steam has also helped that a lot, because it's just very easy to hop on there and buy it. You don't have to go somewhere and.
There was like a 12-year period through like the late 90s all the way up to like, I don't know, maybe from like 2000 until 2012, where computer technology was growing so fast and so rapidly that buying a computer was really frustrating because it went obsolete really fast.
That's true too.
And that has really slowed down over the past 4 years. Like your computer that you build now lasts a while.
It's going to be good for at least a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that might be kind of where we're seeing a lot more people start building their own machines.
And also a lot of PC games scale.
Yeah.
You can scale the graphics to whatever performance you need them to be. You can scale the performance of textures and lighting. I mean, you can really fine tune a lot of these games so that they run very well.
Right.
And
a
I mean,
computer that costed $1,200
Yeah.
10 years ago, like you can build a computer that is just as good comparatively now for $600.
Right.
Like parts, even the best parts are way cheaper than they were.
So what you spend in buying a PlayStation 4, it's not, you're not going to be able to produce those same level of graphics if you spend that on a PC. Granted, so it is a bit of a better cost-effective option if you want those great games. But here's the thing.
Damn it, Callie, get your shit together.
How much was that donation?
Another $1. That's $2.
Damn it. If you're donate real money if you're going to call me out on stream.
Wow.
Make it worth my time.
Callie calling you guys out. Shit.
Man.
But Steam really helped with a lot of that, you know?
Yes.
And having a marketplace, you know, a digital marketplace is really helpful. And I think that has been one of the big revolutionary parts about gaming is that, you know, you don't have to go somewhere to actually buy the thing anymore. That you can just, you know, download it fairly quickly.
That's another thing is like those downloads don't take nearly as long as they used to. When Steam first came out, a Steam download took a while.
Oh my God, but they're so fucking fast now.
Yeah, like you get a game that's like 12 gigs and I still have like 12 gigs in my head as being this humongous number for a download. So I'm like, cool, I'll play tonight. And then like half hour later, I'm like, or now.
Yeah,
now it works.
Yeah. It's pretty impressive. So, I mean, you know, Valve did build a very good platform there. And, you know, I feel like I really don't see consoles being terribly viable moving forward. Because, you know, yes, they are a bit more cost effective. And really, I think that the only thing that they have going for them anymore is the exclusive titles. You know, like those titles that you
Until Dawn
have to buy. You know, you're locked into whether they, you know, worked something out with the developer or whether it's developed in house. A lot of, you know, like Halo. Anyone?
Yep.
You know, a lot of people will continue to buy Microsoft hardware because Halo.
Fine asshole.
How much was it?
20.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
You, Skip.
Now I will accept your critiques of me. I'm a shitty player, and I'll go hook up my HDMI to my PS4.
So, you know, like, what do you guys think? Is it just all going to go the way of PC gaming? Is that just the way that we're moving forward?
I don't think so. I think consoles are still going to be around. What I think will happen after the next generation is they'll start going modular, where you can start swapping in hard drives. I know you can't already, but make it more accessible and more easy. Better graphics cards, better processors, so they can sustain time.
That's just like a computer at that point.
But more cost effective. I mean.
You're just talking about a more cost effective. I mean, really, you're talking about a Steam machine. Like you're talking about a Steam box.
Yeah, it's still a console.
It is a console. It's made for one purpose, and it's going to run one piece of software. You know, the OS that comes with it. But that's really the only difference that a Steam machine has between that and a PC. The only difference is that it only runs the Steam OS versus a PC that, you know, you spend a little bit more on. You can do everything on. You know what I mean? Like it almost feels like, overall, it makes more sense to buy a PC that can do gaming if you need a PC and just forego the console altogether. But then that takes the console out of the living room. And I think that's where, like, a lot of the reason I buy consoles or still have consoles and even use consoles is to throw a piece of media that exists on a hard drive in this room onto a screen out in my living room or on a screen out into my bedroom, right? So, you know, it's almost used as a pass-through for the media that you're watching, because the media is not even stationed on that, you know?
Well, can you imagine
it's just a stream-through box 90% of the time. At what point can we make this ubiquitous and forego the whole Sony Microsoft thing and just unify the shit? And just make it fucking, like, all of our devices talk to each other.
This is where I picture eventually you won't buy a PS6. Instead, you will buy the PS6 software and put it on your computer.
Right.
And it will and then your computer will function as a PlayStation.
Right.
That's the sort of thing I see it eventually going to, because eventually I don't think hardware consoles will remain sustainable. People are going to say, I'm going to build a great computer and I will just run your software on it.
Right. And I think that actually makes more sense, and there's actually kind of more of potential to make money there, because there's a lot of overhead that goes into making hardware.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that much overhead that goes into making software, and a piece of software like that, you could easily charge $100 for, $150 for.
And how easily would you then be able to say, like, integrate it with Steam perfectly?
Right.
Now you can buy your all PlayStation games are available on Steam.
Because, I mean, from a developer standpoint, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to only develop for one platform anymore, unless you're getting a whole bunch of money thrown at you by that platform to only develop for that platform. Right? Like, the idea that it would be more work for a developer to go and make scalable options so that your game runs on a variety of different hardware, right? Because I think that's one of the arguments is consoles are unified hardware. The games, a game that is made for a PlayStation 4 will run the same on my console as it will on your console and on your console. Right. So if there's, frame rate issues or if there's texture issues, like that's mostly going to be the same among our consoles, right?
Except for the PS4 Pro now.
Well, now it's a little bit different, right? So, but if you add scaling options to games so that it can run on a multitude of hardware, I like your idea, Callie, of saying that we have a piece of software that you can download and then you put a disc in and it'll be able to play the disc.
Think about
basically an emulator.
We've been doing this with emulators for years already.
Exactly.
If they just want to start hey, we're just going to start monetizing the idea of an emulator.
Boy, that really...
Ta-da!
Make money, game companies. Seriously. Like, that does seem like a huge oversight, and we're at the point where I feel like they've got to start asking that, the manufacturers have to start asking that same question. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it's got to be at the point now where, if we're noticing it as game fans, like, the potential future viability of this being in jeopardy, they've got to see the same thing, because it's halfway through their console cycle and they're already releasing upgraded versions of their consoles. This is like at least 2 years too early to be happening.
Yeah. When you look at something like the PlayStation Now or a PlayStation Pro, coming out now, it feels like how old is the PS4 now? What, 3 years?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
About 3 years old?
Three-ish. Look it up.
Not nearly long enough is the point. Like we are seeing this way too soon. And how will they justify it if they find themselves needing to do it again in 3 years? How far away is the PS5?
I think that they will wear their customer base very, very thin.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, this...
3 years.
3 years. Wow, that is super fast. That's not even half the cycle, man.
November 15th.
Holy crap. So think about it, man. So if they're already at the point where they're putting out upgraded hardware and new hardware, if they have to do it again in 3 years to be able to stay competitive with running the software or the needs of the developers that are making these things and stay competitive with PC gaming. This really does create an environment where you've either got to drive the cost of the box down, the cost of the console down, and make it half what it is now, so that people look at it like they look at cell phones. Like it is. I'm definitely going to be replacing this in a year.
Well, here's the reason that I might give them not a pass, but let's wait and see how this pans out. Virtual reality is upon us, and it could be the next big shift in gaming.
Oh, man.
Virtual reality could be the thing where they can justify it.
I don't know, man.
You don't think so?
No.
Motion control could be the thing that really breaks out gaming.
Look how, dude, look at how well the Oculus Rift is not doing. Look how well the HTC Vive is not doing. They're not moving units. None of them are moving units. So
it costs too much.
That's part of it. Part of it.
We also, I think we've recognized that what PlayStation offers with the Morpheus, they have a lot better lineup, I guess. A lot more games coming with it.
There's more potential. I think that we're going to have to wait until definitively the Sony product.
VR will live and die by the Morpheus, probably.
I think that's probably fair. That's probably fair. But I don't see a whole lot coming out for it that is terribly innovative. You look at the VR section of Steam, and it's just barren. There's not a whole lot of software to come out on the supporting end of that.
That's because no one has it.
Well, and it's not a proven moneymaker.
Yeah.
Well, and
it doesn't make sense to develop for it yet.
And the barrier for entry on that's a lot higher. Your computer, it's got to be pretty boss, and your VR headset for the Oculus is not cheap. The Oculus is expensive.
Think about the way that developers develop games. When you're going between generations, you're really only talking about upscaling your existing game. I mean, you talk about PlayStation 3 games and PlayStation 4 games, they're not that vastly different mechanically, in terms of how many polygons they can put out. It's not that much vastly different. Mostly you're getting a higher frame rate. Mostly you're getting better textures. Mostly you're getting better lighting. But that's why upgrading, like making a PS3 re-release on a PS4 is such an easy task. It doesn't actually take that much development.
Right.
You're basically just clicking those settings up on the PC version to make it run more, better. More better. To make it run more better on a PlayStation 4.
Good point.
I know, right? But that doesn't work for VR. You can't just take the exact same game that you were going to develop for a console and develop it for VR. It has to run at a specific resolution, a very, very high resolution. It's got to, there's other factors involved, and I just don't know that the talent is there to and willing to take up the task of making something great to make that platform the next definitive thing.
I think it'll be okay as long as Sony is being honest about the number of games that are actually in development with virtual reality, because the numbers they've claimed are very high. If that's honest, I think that bodes very well for virtual reality. If they're fudging it, then that's probably not a good sign.
Let's go to our phone lines. We've got Evil Lives wanting to talk about the PS4. What's up, Evil Lives?
Hey, I was just wondering if you guys saw the article with The Guardian, how the Sony head said the reason why they're making the Pro is to compete with the PC and not Xbox.
And I totally see that.
Why are you...
I 100% see that.
Trying to compete with a PC using a console is...
It's a dumb idea.
Probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It's a dumb idea, especially because that comes out the same week as you go, yeah, we're not doing the mods thing, guys. That's really bad. That's just really bad optics on that story, period. If you're trying to compete with the PC, then meaningfully compete with the PC and put out the feature that's there and stop trying to be money-grubbing assholes about it. That's really the thing that burns me about Sony on the mod thing, is it sounds like from all reports that all the systems were there, everything was in place, and it was Sony's desire to grab some cash out of it that blocked it from moving forward. That's sad. That bums me out. But to say that you're going to try to compete with PC gaming, I think that's disingenuous. I think that's really disingenuous. I don't think you can compete with PC gaming.
Well, you can try, but you're going to, screw yourselves over in the long run because you can't.
It used to be that PC gaming, they didn't have the titles, right?
Console exclusivity was a real barrier.
Exactly, yeah. But that was 2 generations ago. Anymore, anything that comes out... God, it feels like anything that's come out since 2014, eventually, if not within 6 months of the release, gets put on PC. And now they're actually working back through a lot of back catalogs. We see a lot of the older Final Fantasies being re-released for PC.
Yep.
It's that kind of stuff that makes me go, yeah, consoles, I don't know about this shit anymore. And I think that there's something to that. I think that there's something to that idea that we're going to be replacing consoles with some sort of, box, much like the PS TV over there, Chris, beside you. Yes, that one. Yes, that one. Much like the PS TV that ends up acting as a way to access media, games, whatever you can access on your PC on your environment out in your living room. That's, I think, once that becomes ubiquitous, because it already exists, that technology clearly already exists, but once it becomes ubiquitous and really permeates out into the marketplace, people will just stop buying consoles.
I agree. I think there will be Well, that's the question. How many more generations of consoles will there be? Will there be a PS5, 6? I'm sure there'll be a 5.
I'm pretty sure that there will be a 5.
I'm sure will there be a PS6?
I mean, because it's going to be the market that determines that.
Right.
It's absolutely going to be the market that determines that. So, there's one thing that we haven't talked about yet in this whole big debate.
Uh-oh.
And I think it's kind of the elephant in the room.
Get that elephant out of here. It's too small. It's really hot in here.
I'm looking at you, Chris.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you were just like having your eyes glaze over at me.
No.
What's up?
We haven't talked about Nintendo anywhere in this.
Well, you want to talk Nintendo?
We should talk Nintendo. Because
come into my bubble.
I think Nintendo may have played the long con in this game. That this is we had talked about this with MMOs, that you need a strong company to be able to float it in times of trouble. Nintendo, I feel like they've financially sort of floated their company along for 10 years, but that the exclusivity of their games to their hardware.
Let's be honest, Fallout 4 hardly worked on PS4. Why should I believe Bethesda that they have mods for it working?
I don't know. I mean, it
works fine on my PS4.
I don't know what you're talking about, because I mean, I didn't play it on a I actually didn't play Fallout 4 at all.
Yeah. You have it though, don't you?
Not for I mean, I have it for PC.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't have it for PS4. I don't know what it. I actually didn't hear that many people complain about it on PS4. So I don't.
It's because nobody bought it on PS4. Everyone bought it on the PC so they could mod it.
Yeah. Why would you buy it on anything but PC?
Yeah, I think I have to blame you for that one, Scape Death. Like, that's your fault. I don't blame me or Sony. You made that decision.
Stupid idiot.
No, but that totally derailed my train of thought. Where was I going?
Well, we're talking about Nintendo and how
right,
we're playing
Nintendo.
the long con because
you
we're
guys
smart.
are enjoying yourselves in the bubble. Do you want me to like leave, give you guys some privacy?
No,
you could just come in here too.
No, I think I'm good. There's enough cum in that
down.
bubble. Thanks.
Gross. I really think that Nintendo may have made some long-term smart moves by not having their games appear on other hardware, because now, I mean, like, really, that is the reason to buy Nintendo hardware, is because
to play
you get
Mario games.
Yeah, and Zelda and Pokemon, and I mean that they have so many IPs that are iconic and generally pretty good quality.
Star Fox, Metroid,
less so. Okay, now you're falling off.
Kid Icarus.
That's a slope. Look,
look, just stop.
Have they made the long-term good decision here in terms of consoles? Because I feel like the other two, like Xbox and PlayStation, are moving slowly, or now very quickly, towards competing with the PC market, and that's all one big market. But that
Nintendo bubble,
is
baby.
over here, and
100% of people who play Nintendo games are going to buy the Nintendo console because that's the only place you can get that Mario game.
Yeah, there's no question of whether it's ever going to be on the PC, because you know that it's not.
Exactly. It's never going to be on Steam.
Right.
It's only going to be on the Nintendo console. So if you want to play the new open world Zelda game, you're going to buy an NX.
But is that the direction that gaming companies needed to go 10 years ago? Was that the console exclusivity needed to get worse instead of better? Because that does seem...
To survive?
Yeah.
Certainly.
Because
I mean, that's the only reason... Like, that's the biggest thing to make a console worth anything, is having the games be exclusive. Like Nintendo and Sega back in the day, you either had one or the other. But nowadays, like, you have an Xbox, okay. You have a Sony, sure. It doesn't really matter. Like, the biggest thing in this current generation was the fact that you couldn't play with your friends, but even they're throwing that away.
Yeah. Then they're saying that you can play.
So what's the difference
among two different pieces of hardware? Yeah. Literally, what is the difference? But yet, Nintendo has set itself apart, and it does feel like if Sony and Microsoft had made this decision back in the days of the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, if they had taken and said, look, we want to make sure that your IP stays with us, and we're going to give you enough money to make sure that it stays with us. It would have been hugely, I think us as gamers would have seen that as hugely frustrating, but long term, that seems to be the real payoff for Nintendo.
But the question is, how much money would Sony or Microsoft have to throw at game developers to keep them
That is the question.
exclusive?
That is the question.
Because there's so much money to make things cross-platform.
To be made, yes, by doing things cross-platform. You're absolutely right. It would have been astronomical. They would have had to throw a lot of money, or Sony and Microsoft would have had to go to greater lengths to absorb more studios.
And that's what it is. Nintendo owns so many of these IPs first party.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter. They know they're not going anywhere else. They own them.
That's right. And I think that because it's weird, because I can see a future, right, where we don't have PlayStation or Xbox consoles anymore. That's a future that I can see. But I always see Nintendo somewhere in there.
They're always going to have a box.
Yeah.
Right next to your TV.
It is bizarre how, I mean, because for a long time I thought that was the dumbest move. And now it's sort of making me rethink that, because everything is merging. Everything is just consolidating. All our devices are consolidating. Eventually we're going to be able to run everything from our phone.
That'll be a nice day.
Final Fantasy 14 is boring. Pokemon Go is amazing. I've pre-ordered Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Nintendo was playing the long con and has it right. The Nero of 2 years ago is dead. He's dead, and he's buried, and he's gone, and I'm here with some weirdo in a red shirt.
And he's in a bubble, and there's cum all over him.
Ew.
We all have cum on us in our bubble. It's okay.
What is going on?
Just rub it in your pores.
But
it's good for the skin.
Am I wrong?
No.
Am
that
I
makes it
wrong?
More frustrating.
I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean,
we could go through a library of content of this gentleman here being railed on by you for his opinions on Nintendo.
It's true.
Or a library of content of some guy named Robbie who used to be on this show being railed on for his thoughts on Pokemon Go. And you're just kind of stuck here now they made some good points.
They did. Yeah.
You know another thing that's going to keep Nintendo in the console market?
What?
Their stupid party games. You can't replicate 4 assholes sitting on a couch playing Mario Party or Smash Brothers and just going at it.
That is depressingly
like you can
accurate.
Online.
That's so depressingly accurate.
Playing in person, playing GoldenEye in person is completely different from playing Halo online.
You're totally right.
Oh my God.
You're totally
I didn't even
right.
think about that.
No, and well, but I think that's actually a really good point that we should hit on, is that Nintendo has always just kind of had this different idea of the way that their games should be played. And you're right, they could have very easily, made a Mario Party that's playable online, but
that's not the heart of Mario Party.
It's not. It takes something essential away from that experience.
You know what it is? Yeah, drinking. What it is we all had the artsy phase of our lives, like in our early 20s, except for him. He wasn't artsy. But we all thought artsy games can't just be fun anymore. They have to be deep. They have to have meaning. There has to be something powerful behind them. And Nintendo said, nah,
just make it fun.
Fuck that. What if we just make something that's goofy and fun? And now we're all getting to that point where we look at the people who are like, everything has to be artsy and deep. We're like, fuck you. No, it doesn't. Let's just have some fun. Oh, God.
Yeah.
We've just gotten past the deep part of our lives.
No. Because I do think that the industry reflected that. Because we got games like Journey, we got games like Dear Esther, we got games
Heavy Rain
that are they are experiential. They do. I don't know if they transcend quite to the level of art, but they try for it, and I think that's admirable in and of itself.
And they're boring.
Yes. And that's really
thank you.
why they set out to answer the question, well, why can't games be like this? And then the answer is always inevitably, well, because that's fucking boring.
And then they promptly answered those questions.
Yeah, the game itself answers the question. Because
Except for Shadow of the Colossus, which is both art and wonderful.
You play 45 minutes of it and go, okay, I think I get what this is all about. I don't think that games necessarily need to transcend all the time into art. I think that that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
A game, I think, like a game that knows exactly what it is, like Undertale, I think is like perfect. You know what I mean? And it's like that is a game that does transcend to art.
That one I would call art.
Because it wasn't trying.
Right.
It was just trying to be what it is. And that is the thing that creates greatness. It's not attempting to be, recreating success or whatever. And there are very few people in the video games industry that I think have a sense of that anymore. I think Hideo Kojima may be one of the very few people that has a sense of that anymore. Because every time he would make a new game, it was like he wiped the slate clean. We're gonna, and even if he has to, put it into a Metal Gear, into a Metal Gear box, that it. In some ways, it's going to push the medium forward. That's how he thought of everything he made. Every single game, whether it had Metal Gear on the title or whether it was Zone of Enders or whatever it was, this was going to move the medium forward in some fashion.
And Toby Fox did much the same thing with Undertale. I feel like when he was designing Undertale, he said, what is every trope of an RPG? I'm going to spit in the face of every last one of them. Scott Cawthon, we see him do that like as repetitive as kind of like the FNAF gameplay is. The story behind it and the way he markets it, the way he makes everything mean something more is something incredibly different. You always expect greatness with it or something thought-provoking.
Yeah, and the thing is that there's no reason that can't come from a AAA developer. I feel like it just gets stuff like that, little quirky stuff like that gets quashed in committee because someone doesn't get it. Someone in the boardroom doesn't get it, and they go, yeah, well, we're afraid that the audience at large won't get it. So you do get these, because those are two indie games that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to say that, AAA development can't do that anymore, because I feel like making that concession is sort of like saying, TV can't do anything innovative anymore. And I think that the last 10 years of TV have really disproven that theory. I always can see how a medium can move forward. It's never something. There's never anything that's truly ever stuck. It just will take one person with enough courage and maybe even insanity.
Name me a AAA studio that would have greenlit Undertale.
None of them.
Not a one.
Not one. No. And for a variety of reasons too.
And you'd hear 10,000 different reasons why not. But that's the beauty of indie games. Like literally, Toby just said, "Hey, this sounds fun to me. I enjoy this. Let's put it out."
But when do AAA developers realize this though? Because at some point they will realize that, and they will try to, you'll start to see a little bit more adventurous stuff.
From AAA?
Sure.
No.
Yeah, it goes in a cycle. It always does, because you see this in movies, you see it in TV, you even see it in radio. I mean, radio has been in this slump for a long time, and in a large way, we're coming in our effort to create a video game talk show for radio, and we're doing something entirely different with a medium that shouldn't, under normal circumstances, would not allow that kind of content on the air because no one believes in it. It's a concept that unless you are of a certain age and video games played a certain role in your life, you just don't have a connection to.
Sure.
But we're also at a point where this stuff is making money to the point where the people who are out of touch can't ignore it. And we're swooping in at this amazingly opportune time where the out of touch people who don't get it want to make the money. And the people who are the creatives like us are saying, well, we can help you do that.
We can make it.
We know how to make money.
Well, we know how to talk to that audience.
Yeah.
That's the key. We know how to talk to that audience. And we know what matters to that audience. So if you want that audience to become a part of your radio audience, then let us help you with that. And a lot of times the tone of the industry is not in the creative direction. And often that means that they're making a lot of money. Games, specifically AAA games, have been making a lot of money for a long time, but they're starting to see their profit margins shrink.
Yep.
And now
games are now beginning to outcost what they're making.
That's right. And now with indie games being successful and a lot of these developers actually starting and launching careers off of them, it's going to take a breakout success from an indie developer. And I mean like a Pokemon Go level success on an indie development from an indie development outfit that's going to drive home that creativity to AAA developers to say, oh, well, we have worked our way into a box. And then at that point, it just takes one of them to start trying new things again. I mean, it just...
Well, and that's where you'll see the next generation of AAA developers. The AAA developers who make that shift, or not even the AAA developers, whichever companies make that shift and start seeing that success will be the AAA developers that we're talking about 10 years from now.
Right. Let's go back to our phone lines. We've got Sean hanging on. What's going on, Sean? Thanks for calling Final Encountercast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
What's up?
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about basically console obsolescence, since that's what the topic is about. I'm actually a game developer. I've worked on consoles, mainly for Sony because I worked for Sony.
What I mean, are we talking like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4? Like what era?
What era, yeah.
PlayStation 4 mainly. I was working with Sony Online Entertainment, to be more specific.
Gotcha. Okay.
So consoles are never going to go away. And from a developer's standpoint, they are essential to great game development. And the reason for that is you were developing for one set of hardware.
Right.
Now, obviously, with the PS4, you're developing for two. But when you only have one set of hardware to focus on, or you could aim for the PS4 Pro and then scale it down to the PS4.
Right.
But when you only have one set of hardware to work for, that is really the best thing for a developer to work on. Now, PC, we're starting to see a shift with Microsoft, because every game that you buy on, for Windows 10 on PC also works on the Xbox One, because that's what they want to do. I guess they're calling it the Xbox Play Anywhere or something like that. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But that's bridging the gap between what consoles are and what PCs are. Now, I don't know. I didn't read the article that the previous caller talked about with PS4 Pro trying to compete with PC. That sounds kind of ludicrous to me. As a developer, that would never be something that Sony would actually want to do, because you can't, as you guys have stated already. Mm-hmm. I think the reason for the mid shift in the hardware generation is because this current gen started off really, really weak. As a developer, you look at the hardware specs and you're like, that's no better than what a decent sized PC costs, right? So
right.
I think the mid shift in hardware really helps with, first off, I'm excited for it, right? Because I want to make games for that better hardware.
Sure.
But also, you have the 4K, that's a great excuse, and you have VR, which is also another great excuse. So I think with this mid, and this is just my own theory, but I think with the mid generation that we're having right now, Xbox is going to come out on top.
Really?
And the reason for that is they're going to have Oculus Rift behind them. They've already had the agreement with, hey, package in an Xbox One controller with every single Oculus Rift.
Right.
And when the Scorpio comes out, pretty much guaranteed the Oculus Rift is going to work on there and be the VR component that is going to go against the PSVR.
Right. Well, I don't want. I feel like VR is being oversold, and because you're a developer, I don't mean to push on that, but I mean, like, I just don't know that the consumer will for VR is there yet. I mean, like, the consumer hype for VR definitely isn't there, and it's going to take a definitive title to be able to push that. I mean, that's what I think it's really going to take. And both sides. I mean, Sony does look like it's got a better lineup of potential games, but I just don't know. I just don't know that VR is going to be able to do it to push the next big move in gaming. But one of the things that I do want to ask you about is, developing, if you're developing a game and, granted, you're talking about a mid-stage upgrade, so you're talking about two different pieces of hardware. But really, if you have to make sure that it runs stably on both variants of hardware, aren't you just 2/3 of the way to developing it to run on as many pieces of hardware that your average PC game would be able to run on?
Well, I don't want to get too technical, obviously, and I would like to touch on the VR aspect as well. But to answer your initial question, when you're developing for a piece of hardware, you set the LODs, which is level of detail. Actually, it's a setting inside of Final Fantasy 14, so you're probably familiar with that. Mm-hmm. But those level of details need to be mimicked in such a way that you're scaling across. You want to aim for a certain generation of video cards, and you use those LODs for a lot of things. Could be shadows, could be really far off distance sort of things. Do you modify the animations, that sort of thing? So you have to create more variables for it to scale, rather than focus on, hey, how can I make this look literally the best at every moment in time on this console, mm-hmm. right? So when you have that target, that single biggest target, then you're good. When you have a big scale, it'll look great when someone optimizes it on their own machine, but out of the box, maybe not so much.
Right. And I mean, I feel like having those consumer options to be able to adjust, for example, how Final Fantasy 14 does have some light graphics tweaks that you can make to it on the PlayStation 4. I really feel like as a developer, there's not much that you would have to do to include that in a PlayStation, on a console version, and then directly bring that over to a PC and not have much problem with it. If you've ever played the Dark Souls PC port, that's a game Absolutely. That you can clearly see that they made it run in a PC environment, and that was it. That's the bulk of the work that was included with that port of the game, and it really does take a little bit more work on the user's part to be able to get it to run with a controller, and I
had to install the patcher and software and stuff like that to actually make it watchable.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's not something that I get, it's not always like that, but it does seem like the development process now for the PS4 and beyond is so close to the PC development process that it doesn't seem like a lot of effort to be able to take one and put it on the other.
Well, just to kind of give some insight. So let's say, let's take Dark Souls, for example. On a console, you are utilizing multiple cores. Most games and even applications on a PC do not run in multiple cores, and a lot of people don't realize that. Most applications only use one core of your CPU, while on a console, we're utilizing everything in the machine because it's not nearly as powerful.
Right.
When you take, Dark Knight, that was a debacle on PC, right? Because it was still trying to read off the other cores, and it ran like crap when it first came out.
Interesting. Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different variations there where hey, the PC, you could say, hey, let's just put it on the PC, and Windows is trying to do that with Windows 10. When you get the Windows 10 packaged game applications, it's literally a watered down experience because it was pulled from the console. That's why they're getting another company to port Quantum
Quantum Break? Yeah.
They're getting another company to port that to the PC, so it'll work on Windows 7 and other things like that. But I did want to touch on VR real quick.
Yeah.
And the thing with VR is that right now VR is where Virtual Boy was when it first launched. Right. We have a ton of different demos. We have people that don't really know what it is.
That inspires a lot of confidence. Just saying.
Hey, I'm bringing it back around.
He's got Chris. Chris is literally huddled in the corner.
He's got the fetal position going.
The price point for VR right now is not worth the entertainment value that you're getting, and that's where PSVR is going to come in. The price point is $400. Right. But that's not taking into consideration the hardware you need, which is now $300. Right. So your total investment is $700, which you already have half of that anyway. So you're looking at about $400, and the game experience is going to kind of be worth that investment. If you paid twice that or 4 times that to get into VR and you had the same experience, that would be depressing and you wouldn't feel like you got your money's worth.
Yeah, and the thing is that when I think of VR, I can't help but go back to the original Wii and look at the amount of shovelware that was put out for the original Wii. And I know, because I worked at a GameStop in that era, and I know how many fucking useless discs we had come in and out of that place with shit. What the fuck is Tycho Brick's Wii? What the fuck is this shit? Like, there were games that I don't think you could have. You could even find Wikipedia pages on. They were that, like, there were 5,000 copies of this made because someone really needed $5,000. You know what I mean? Like, it was terrible. There was so much terrible crap that was put out for the Wii that it almost did what Nintendo was trying to avoid with the original NES, and locking down and saying, like, no, you have to have a proprietary cart, and, like, you know how when they sued
licensed by Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The whole licensed by Nintendo thing, and they sued I can't remember what was they had like black carts and they looked different. Was it Sun something or other? I can't remember the name of that fucking company that Nintendo had sued.
Sunsoft?
Was it Sunsoft?
Sunsoft was a developer.
I
but
know,
I don't think
but
it was
maybe
them that
I don't
made
know.
that.
I can't honestly remember, but
like
they did that. They did that to avoid the basically the gaming crash that happened with Atari, because Atari couldn't regulate who was putting software out, and tons of shovelware was coming out for this device that people couldn't differentiate between a good game and a bad game. And
Tengen?
Huh?
Tengen.
That's
Tengen,
it.
that was them.
That's it. But I think that's my concern with the VR, is that it's going to get a bunch of bullshit attached to it that's not going to impress when you finally get it out of the box. It's got to have that super impressive, like, thing that you show off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing to keep in mind with any sort of new technology. You're always going to have shovelware. I mean, look at phones. There are millions of just crap games, clones, everything like that in the App Store and Google Play Store.
Exactly.
But, when you look at VR as a whole, we're just trying to figure it out. I actually, before Facebook bought out the Rift, I actually worked on the Z-axis tracking for the Rift. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, just as a developer, wrapping your head around how you can utilize that sort of technology, it's not the same as what we think of normal games, right? You have to think of motion transfer. You have to think of the actual head tracking, the space involved.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, so we've had smartphones for how long? I mean, like what? The
2007.
2007.
About 10 years.
Okay, almost 10 years, right? It's taken 10 years worth of app development and software being put out for these phones to get to Pokemon Go, to get gamers to go, oh, I can actually game on my phone. Because that was a discussion before Pokemon Go had come out. Like, that was a legitimate argument, like, is mobile gaming ever going to take off, or are we just going to get Candy Crush for the rest of our lives?
We did that episode.
And then Pokemon Go comes out, and we go, holy shit, this is actually a gaming device the entire time. And I didn't fucking realize it, right? And my concern is that it took 10 years to get there with phones, but phones have so many other practical uses outside of gaming that made sense. Like, does VR have the amount of time to mature that it needs to, and also be successful in the marketplace to make money? Because you've got to be able to do both.
I believe so. It's already being utilized in many other technologies. A lot of other, for a lot of home designers and stuff, they're using VR to actually do virtual walkthroughs inside of homes that they're designing.
Interesting.
But as far as gaming is concerned, let's go back to the mobile phone. Order and Chaos, which was the first mobile MMO that I know of, started out, I think, in 2008 or 2009, and they have a sequel out there too, and they're quite popular. So gaming on a mobile device has been progressing really, really well. I think Pokemon Go.
It was very much still up in the air. It was very much still up in the air up until Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Go was the thing that made
it shattered that wall.
It really did.
Catalyst.
It definitively, it galvanized that discussion where people were going, I still have every reason to keep gaming on my 3DS. And now, honestly, I don't think that discussion is even up. Is even a conversation anymore? Yes,
well, it was
of course,
phenomenon.
It was a phenomenon, and it made core gamers, gamer gamers, really look at phones a different way. I think what you're talking about was early adopters. It very much was.
Well, I look at something like, I remember the moment that I got excited for VR. I was watching a guy play, I think, Dreadhalls on the Oculus, and all he did was this.
Yeah.
And in the game, his character peeked around a corner.
Yeah.
And that is amazing to me when you think about that from a concept of not just side strafing over and then side strafing back. You can literally that is so immersive to be able to peek your head around the corner. It's that sort of thing that I think will sell VR.
And I think
well, actually.
Just a very important caveat to the conversation is that none of us in this room have tried VR. None of us have had that VR experience. So that may be a very important caveat in selling it. But then that means that you got to get demo models in front of people like crazy.
Sure, and they will be. They will be. PSVR
yes.
is going to be in every single store that you can think of. But let me put it into a different perspective. I see you have a couple monitors there. Right?
Yeah, right.
What if you put on a VR headset and you had as many monitors as you wanted, that you could clearly see, that you could manipulate, that you can move anywhere you wanted? It doesn't necessarily have to be a gaming application. Sure. You could watch a huge movie on it. You could put yourself on a vacation. You could do whatever you wanted to with VR.
Yeah, but that takes a penetration into the into the consciousness that I don't know that VR could ever get to that. I mean, you're talking about ubiquitizing a technology that, you would need to see those glasses in much, much higher proliferation than just applied to gaming.
What I think is interesting is the first thing you mentioned there. We're using dual monitors, but with a VR headset instead, you theoretically could create multiple monitors that don't have to physically exist in the world.
I get
That's amazing.
No, I could be the architect.
It could. What you're describing sounds a lot like Minority Report. What Tom Cruise's character was using in Minority Report.
So that actually already exists. It's existed for 10 years. That technology with the gloves. That's actually real technology.
Oh, that's cool.
You can use that. Yeah, it's been around for years and years. But with VR especially, they're already using it in hospice homes, right? To let them see what their house looks like again, or go through and relive a memory when they were younger, that sort of thing, right? It doesn't have to be an in-home application. It can be elsewhere, like arcades, VR studios. You can go to, we have oxygen bars and stuff. What if you went on a flight, with a bunch of people at some kind of VR bar? Inside the house is not the only place for this, but there are tons of applications for it. Obviously, we've gotten on a VR discussion, but I do think that consoles are here to stay just because of the development that are required for that.
Well, thanks for the call, Sean. That was a really fascinating discussion. We really appreciate it. And yeah, VR is definitely the next kind of prospect for the world of gaming. But I guess what Sean's saying is a really good point, that it's not just in the world of gaming. And a lot of times, gaming does push forward technology in other sectors, but it's the application of that technology in those other sectors that really help it find an economic foothold and have it become a viable product. So it'll be interesting to see if VR ends up taking off and becoming a foothold in our culture because of its practical applications or because of its gaming applications. I'm going to be very interested to see which one of those two ends up winning out.
I can't fathom VR just fizzling. It may not take off as a gaming thing immediately,
right?
But it is so applicable in other places that eventually it probably will. We might see it drop off in gaming and then resurge like no other down the line.
Because you think of like the medical the medical stuff that you could do with a
being
VR
able to
environment.
Like practice a surgery or something.
I mean, there's just so many different options and ways that you could go with that. It is an amazing piece of technology, and one that I hope, because with any piece of technology, it's like, which is going to run out first? Which is going to happen first? Is it going to take off and be popular and make its way into popular culture, or is it going to run out of money first? I think that, and especially with a lot of it coming from like crowdfunding campaigns and stuff like that. Now you've got really big companies that are backing it, and
I think it's made it past the part where you worry about crowdfunding. It's past there.
Yeah,
like the only time you had to worry about that was with the early days of the
early days. Yeah,
once Facebook bought Oculus,
it's wild that it's come from that though.
That's where it started.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people like to shit on crowdfunding a lot. And
but it might be what gives us VR.
Yeah, it did sincerely propel that technology forward. So.
Someone in the chat is saying that the Army and Navy are both already using VR for training simulations now.
I was just going to mention
that's super cool,
especially with drones and shit they have going on now.
Yeah, yeah, I don't doubt it. But again, are they going to be able to make enough money from that alone? Well,
it really depends. Like, it's not just gaming that VR is going to think. I feel like if VR is really going to take off, it's going to have applications beyond gaming before gaming.
Like Sean was talking about,
before it really has a good hold on gaming itself.
Yeah. It's an interesting question. But, I mean, I do think that we could be moving. It depends on how much we see technology consolidation continue. If we're moving towards having one very strong, high-powered device in our hands that kind of manages all of our stuff, like that.
I just want my phone and my glasses. That's
why?
So I can take pictures by just blinking, and then people won't know I'm taking pictures.
He wants to look like Joanna Dark. He wants to get the little thing around his head.
That'd be so cool.
You guys excited that the new iPhone doesn't have headphone jack?
Great.
Woo!
Glad for that.
Great.
Kind of. I'm a little bit bummed about that. I mean, that's like.
Were you on going to buy the new iPhone? Was that your thing?
No, absolutely not. But the thing is that
cattle must be slaughtered for progress to progress.
Well, but iPhone makes the move. Anything that Apple does in the mobile market is sort of like World of Warcraft. Anything that Blizzard does in the MMO market, where that you're going to get people following suit. And I don't know. Like I don't like the idea of Bluetooth earbuds. That's the worst thing. I can't think of a worse concept for me. I lose things way too easily. It's another goddamn thing to charge. It's a terrible idea.
Okay, this is Grandpa Nate.
Let me tell you something. This is bad for podcasts. People will listen to less podcasts because they'll be listening to less things in their earphones.
Thanks for making it applicable to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Not good, right?
What?
If you can't plug in headphones, right?
Yeah.
Your only options to listen become a Bluetooth, like a Bluetooth speaker, those Bluetooth earbuds, but also in my old ass car, I don't have a Bluetooth stereo. I couldn't listen. I would not be able to listen to my phone in my car.
Do you listen to your phone with earbuds in the car?
No, I listen to it.
So it wouldn't affect you anyway.
Well, no,
with an aux cable
that you have to plug into it.
Dumb shit.
Oh my gosh, you guys just get into the 21st century and get a car that has a good stereo.
Yes, or
just play with your phone, have it just play out music normally.
And actually, I was thinking about this. The part of that really annoys me is that you're going to start seeing more and more people just walking around listening to music on their speakerphone, and that happens enough already. And I fucking hate it. I've shared on no fewer than like a half dozen occasions, I've shared an elevator ride with one of these motherfuckers that's just listening to their stupid music. And all I want to do is just take their head and mash it against the side of the fucking elevator and stomp on their phone. And just walk out of the elevator with a bloodied fucking mess behind me. I hate that shit. I hate it. I don't want to hear your shitty fucking music. It's the last thing I want to hear. No. Don't you dare. I can't. Am I the only one? I feel like I'm being an asshole, but am I the only one?
I have a Bluetooth stereo.
I fucking no. That's I listen to a Bluetooth speaker around here, but do you walk around your neighborhood listening to the Bluetooth speaker as loud as you possibly can?
No, but neither does anyone else in my neighborhood.
But if they did, it would be a dick move, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When it's 9 people, that's like 9 dick moves, isn't it?
That's a huge dick.
That's a lot of dick.
You're right.
I'm just saying. I've been hanging out in Oak Park a lot, and there's a lot of that shit that happens. It's annoying as fuck. I hate your music. I hate your music. I don't care who you are.
All right, well, you know what you need to do?
Your music.
Play your music louder.
That's not
going to show them.
Problem solved.
Oh, God. That is the worst suggestion to that. That's the God. I just see people getting in fights about it. Ugh. Anyway, all right. I think that's going to do it here for Final Encounter Cast. Thank you guys for joining us. It's been a fun episode. Good discussion that was going on here. I want to thank the, let's see, how many, 118 people that are hanging out with us right now. Woohoo! If this is your first time hanging out for Final Encounter Cast, hit that follow button. Join us each and every single Sunday. We're here at 5 o'clock at twitch.tv/Final Encounter Cast. You can subscribe to the show over at finalencountercast.com. But remember that this show is done through your generosity every week at patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. We have to meet the $2,000 funding goal. $2,000 a month is what we're looking to be at. We're sitting at currently $1,873. So if you want to make sure that this show is on the air every single week for you to listen to, head on over to patreon.com/Limit Break Radio and give just whatever is comfortable for your budget. We ask that you give whatever you can give month over month. It helps support us. It helps keep the content regular. And it helps keep us regular, too. We buy fiber with it, fiber pills. It's very important. You got to keep yourself regular as you get older.
I thought it was weird that he made us start buying fiber pills.
I know.
It's good for you.
It is.
I've always taken those.
Oh.
That and prune juice. It's good for your soul.
This is gross. Can we talk about something else?
The soul is a euphemism for poop.
Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a fun show here today.
What?
Huh?
It's been a fun show.
Yeah, it's been a fun show.
It's been a great show.
It has.
It was.
Fun discussions, and then you had to go make it weird. Anyway, thanks for joining us here today. Hit that follow button. Join us all the time. Facebook.com/Final Encounter Cast. Twitter.com/FEC Podcast. FinalEncounterCast.com to check out the live blog. That's care of Kooky, who's also been our phone screener today. Thank you, Kooky, for your hard work. We've also got Len hanging out in the background, filling in for Robbie and my crew. We got Chris, KRYS, and Callie. My name's Nate. Have a good one. Final Encounter Cast is a production of FinalEncounterCast.com, Limit Break Radio, and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Nate Bender and Kooky Persona. This show is made possible by the generous Patreon donors of the podcast Limit Break Radio. Opening music provided by Keyboard Kid. More info and music can be found at keyboardkid206.bandcamp.com. Closing music provided by Sobsy. For more info, visit sobsy.bandcamp.com. For links to articles mentioned on this show, visit our live blog at FinalEncounterCast.com. Final Encounter Cast and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.